This is True News. I'm Rick Wiles, and you're listening to 1 hour of uncensored news and views. Well, here's an anniversary I'm confident you don't have marked on your calendar. The 35th anniversary of the Jonestown massacre. It's coming up November 18. Most people old enough to remember it have forgotten it. And most people too young to remember it never heard of it. And if you're among those who never heard of it, I'll just tell you quickly, the Jonestown Massacre was the name given to the mass suicide of over 900 people living in Guyana at the People's Temple Agricultural Project led by Reverend Jim Jones. 907 people died from cyanide poisoning in an event called Revolutionary Suicide. 5 others died at a nearby airstrip, including U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan. My guest today is a recognized expert on cult mentalities. Mr. David Conn was the co-author of a book published in 1980 titled The Cult That Died, The Tragedy of Jim Jones and the People's Temple. He recently published a new book called The Pleasure of Fiends, an orthodox study of evil and the meaning in the Jonestown cultic horror. His website is truthsleuth.net. Mr. Conn, welcome to True News.
Well, fine. Thank you. I'm glad to be aboard. We're going to have an interesting discussion because I think most people don't realize that same Jonestown cult mentality that existed and moved its way through California, because those people did not see the meaning of it, that same cult mentality, and I warned about this for the last 30 years, would grow and increase and reemerge on a grand national level. And that, I think, is what I saw in 2006 when I first saw this young, charismatic senator in Illinois. And then I wrote an article called Jonestown, Its Portent Has Arrived. And in that, I stated that I felt that at last that Obama is the reemergence of the Jones cult mentality on a grand national level, and I documented that years ago.
Is Barack Obama leading America to a cultural suicide?
Oh, yes.
I mean, a cultural Jonestown massacre.
Yes. That's why I said he's far more dangerous, because already what's going on has caused, I think, enormous amounts of people who have just lost everything they've had, and who knows how many suicides. It's just a devastating thing on America.
It does seem, in recent years, there's like a mass insanity that's sweeping the land.
That's right, and that insanity, by the way, is what I said. It's the key element of a cult mentality, the inability to see the obvious, and it's just amazing why people could not see the obvious of what's going on. It just blows me away. It's so obvious, but it's run by a powerful cult-like establishment that is in control, and it has its power over the media, and if anybody gets out of line, they really get torn apart.
I mean,
and Fox News is already yielding a little bit to it.
Sure, they're all intimidated by it. I mean, look at the at the budget, the government shutdown in early October, where you had Mr. Obama telling the leaders of the Congress, I will not negotiate with you, period. Do as I say. And you had grown men and women in the United States Congress who did not challenge him, who did not say to him, excuse me, but we were elected also, and you're going to have to cut some spending. Nobody would do it. Yeah. And they just marched in lockstep like zombies and gave him the power.
Just exactly like cult members. Follow the leader, and they're just absolutely. Part of them are in fear, and they don't know what to do.
Is he becoming an Adolf Hitler?
Oh, sure. Of course, in an obviously different way, his approach to undermining everything that the country stands for is a different approach. He's the extremist on the radical liberal side, the Marxist side and socialism and all that.
But in essence, he's persuading the American people to drink cultural, political, financial cyanide.
They're already gulping it in just big gulps of it, going down all over the place. It's so pathetic. I just hardly know how to deal with it. The irony is, I went 7 years before getting the attention to the media on Jim Jones. I went 7.5 years of my 9 years investigation before the mass murder, and even then, they got onto him because I was informed on that far through my investigation, 18 months before the mass murder. I was informed on, and Jones then found out everything that I had on him, and so he threatened my life, and I went into hiding for 18 months and continued my investigation and stuff. But he then went to the media, and as Obama is doing, really, he's blaming the whole thing on other people. He never once ever even hinted that it is due to him, his fault. No way was it anything to do with his fault.
Which is another sign of the mental illness.
Oh yeah, Jones did the same thing. He blamed his cult being damaged. He went to the San Francisco media and blamed me as a person who's trying to destroy his church. He said.
David, I got 1 minute remaining. You were right in 2006 in your warning. You said Obama is the reemergence of Jim Jones mentality. You said he's going to be the leader of an Islamic cult. You said that in 2006. So in 2013, knowing what you know about cults and watching Obama, what do you think we're going to be talking about in 2 years, 5 years from now about what has happened to this country? Can you sum it up in 1 minute?
Well, I believe that that far in the future, I believe we're going to look back and see a major misdirection of this country to the point where it's never going to recover to what it used to be. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. He's already entrenched himself with this cult mentality, and the liberals are just not able to wake up and see it honestly. They cannot see the facts of what's going on. They're unable to see the obvious, and therefore it's going to go to outrageous extremes. And like I say, I think only a 30% chance that we'll even survive as a nation. But we're not going to ever survive as the nation that we used to be. So
the damage is irreparable. My guest, Mr. David Conn, and he co-authored a book in 1980 called The Cult That Died, The Tragedy of Jim Jones. And his latest book just released, The Pleasure of Fiends, an Orthodox Study of Evil and the Meaning in the Jonestown Cultic Horror. Mr. Conn's website is truthsleuth.net. David, thank you so much for this interview.
Okay, thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Well, I got to be totally frank with you. I was not prepared for where this interview went today. When I first invited Mr. Conn to come on the program, it was because the 35th anniversary of the Jim Jones massacre was coming up in the month of November, and I simply wanted him to talk about what happened and to educate us about these religious cults. I was not expecting him to draw a connection between Jim Jones and Barack Obama. And so what we've learned here today is that Barack Obama has all of the markings of Jim Jones. He is a cultist. Now this makes sense of why people were fainting in 2008. And just a few weeks ago, we had, remember the pregnant woman who fainted? That was completely staged. Watch the YouTube video. You will see that it was a completely staged, fake fainting spell. This man is a lunatic. He is a cultist. He is like Jim Jones. He wants people to worship him. He wants people to believe he has this aura that when he walks into the room, people become lightheaded and they fall down in his presence. These are all the signs of a mentally demented psychopath, a man who has the potential of becoming an Adolf Hitler. Well, it's been an amazing interview today, and I hope this has been enlightening to you. Please do what you have to do to spread this program around on the Internet. Get it on your Facebook pages and tell your friends about it. Email it around.